Coming up on this edition of the ZTV Sports Report, the soccer team travels to New York. Nittaya Klim, the swimming and diving coach, joins us for another segment of Coach's Corner, and the basketball season is almost here as the men's and women's teams had their annual media day. All that and more on the ZTV Sports Report starting now. Welcome to this episode of the ZTV Sports Report, your home for Akron Zips Athletics. I'm your host, Anna Tultz. We have an action-packed show, so let's get started with some Zips football. Terry Bowden and his team were at Central Michigan this past weekend. Could they claim their first win of the month? In a tough match against the Chippewas, Akron lost 35-14. Dalton Williams had 329 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, but it wasn't enough for the Zips. Here to break down the game for us is D. Harris and Sartaj Ojala.
Thanks, Anna. And with me right now is Sartaj Ojala. And Sartaj, the Zips lose another one in big fashion. I want to get your thoughts on how the game played out.
Well, head coach Terry Bowden said it himself. The team always starts to get on a rhythm, but they always start to deflate whenever the game goes on. Against Central Michigan, whenever they started putting up points or stopping their offense, it just really got to them. And when you start getting out of the game mentally, that's just a recipe for disaster. And add turnovers and penalties to that, and now you're in a hole that you can't get out of.
Has this team reached that first step of rebuilding, competing in games from that aspect?
Well, the scores would tell otherwise, but the Zips has actually been in these games really close. But they've had these opportunities to win the games, but they never capitalize on those opportunities. In Central Michigan, for example, when we faced them, we were on the fifth yard line, about to score to make this game really closer for us to win it, but we did not get it in all 4 of our tries. Dalton Williams on 4th down especially just threw the ball away instead of trying to create something. In that situation, you have to just throw it up and hope your receivers get it, because the worst thing that will happen is that it's intercepted. You need to get your team back into the game, and poor decisions are not a thing that will keep this team from getting into that next level.
Well, while the offense has hit the wall the last several games, the defense does continue to let these games get really out of hand. Yeah, and the rushing attacks specifically have been really killing the Zips. Take these numbers in the last 4 games. Central Michigan, 264 yards rushing. Northern Illinois, 305 yards rushing. Ohio, 252. Bowling Green, 292. We're averaging about giving up 250-plus yards in these games. We can't win games like that. Great teams know how to stop the run, and the Zips need to learn that if they ever want to win in the future. That's true. Well, that pretty much wraps up another Zips loss, and now there's nowhere to go but up. From Sartaj Ojala, D. Harris, back to you, Anna.
The Zips traveled to New York to take on the Hartwick Hawks as they look to strengthen their winning streak to 10. And they were able to keep their winning streak alive with a 4-0 win. The Zips stand undefeated in the MAC at 6-0, clinching their 8th consecutive MAC regular season title and are 13-1-2 overall. Basketball season is right around the corner, and getting it started was media day for the men's and women's teams. Our own Chris Kuhn has more on men's basketball media day.
We like our team, we do. We're trying to make pros and guys that graduate from college.
Last year's Akron basketball team fell short of a MAC championship and a berth to the NCAA tourney, so it's important for guys like Zeke Marshall to make an impact.
I want to make a bigger jump than what I have been, but ultimately I want to just get in better position so I can be ready to go to the next level.
Not only is Dambrot optimistic for Marshall, but a solid incoming freshman class.
They're hard-nosed, tough kids, and they're all going to play.
And though there are new faces on the team, the goals still remain the same.
We're just trying to win as many games as possible. We got a great schedule. Coaches got some really good teams on the schedule. And like you said, we're trying to think bigger, and we're trying to take down the big dogs this year.
This year's schedule has the likes of Middle Tennessee, Princeton, and Cleveland State, teams who won 20 games or more last year, and they'll be playing right here this season.
We feel like we have the team to play with those people. We do. We're big, we're strong, we're athletic.
One of the key components to the team last season was Alex Abreu, who was second-team All-MAC, but staying healthy this season is most important.
He's been fine. He gets sore from time to time. Yeah, we have our rainy days, but I'll be fun to play.
With Abreu ready to go, the squad also has solid depth.
We do now have a backup point guard. We've got a true big center behind Zeke.
With what looks to be a promising year returning 8 letter winners, the Zips will first open the season against Coastal Carolina. For the ZTV Sports Report, I'm Chris Kuhn.
Coming up after the break, we have the Women's Basketball Media Day, the swimming and diving team open up MAC play, and Dee takes us in depth. You're watching the ZTV Sports Report.